This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi, how are you, Isabel?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. How about yourself?
Good. Yep, I did. I'm excited for the holidays. Um,
Yeah.
all right. Well, great. Let's see. I think we could just start with any questions that you might have, and then I know there were a couple of things left from last week to go over before we start on the new topic. So, yeah, we can start with any questions if you have any.
I think I'm pretty good. And to be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of time to go back and go through the last lesson.
Okay.
So, we can just pick back up where we left off. I remember most of it, and I'm studying for an test, an exam I have to take tomorrow. So once I'm done with that, this will be like my full-time investment. So,
Oh, nice.
um, I will
Okay.
definitely get caught up this week and be where I need to be in terms of, having to go back and ask you any questions on what we just did.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good. All right, so last time we talked about the PHA
Yep.
and biometric uploader and campaign admin. And we talked about scheduling campaigns and challenges, but we hadn't looked yet at the Quizios. And
Yes.
actually, this ties into rewards, so it works out good.
Okay.
Right. So, really fast though, there are these hyperlinks here, and I finally found out what they are. It just links to some different places, excuse me,
Okay.
around the admin menu. So, the first one it goes to manage users. The second one goes to wellness plan, which we'll talk about later. The third one goes to company message, which we'll also talk about later. And then user categories is the fourth one, and then manage campaigns. So
Okay.
all of these just link to different admin places, and you can get to them either by clicking on these, or you can get to them by clicking on their tab in the admin menu. So it's just some quick access
Okay. Nice.
there. And I think that's it. There's another tool in Misc Utilities that's new, but we'll talk about that in a little bit, I think. Okay,
Okay.
so let's go to manage campaigns, and this is where we schedule the campaigns and challenges and Quizios. And if you remember, the campaigns are 4 to 8 weeks long, the challenges are 2 weeks long and just on one simple task, and then the Quizios are the educational videos followed by a few questions.
Yep.
The least time consuming, and you can schedule them the same way as a campaign. So you click on Add Campaign, and then the campaigns are at the top, the 2 week challenges, and now we're calling them mini campaigns since we're about to roll out a new challenge tool that we're working on. So we're
Okay.
calling the 2 week challenges mini campaigns now. So just so you know, when you see that, they're the same
Okay.
thing. We've changed the name. Um, so the campaigns, the mini campaigns, and then the Quizios are at the bottom of the list. And I think TLC is listed as a module, so you'll see these module ones right here.
Mm-hmm.
And therapeutic lifestyle change is a module.
Okay.
And then we have the Quizios, so we'll just select a Quizio. Let's do this one. And then Quizios will default schedule for just a week. So if I have it
Okay.
starting next week, it will put in the date the week after, but you can extend the date out as long as you'd like. So you could do it for as long as you want, and then click save. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. With the campaign tool, we can only have one campaign or one challenge running at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We can have TLC running at the same time as a campaign or challenge because it has a different icon and it sort of runs in a different place in the program center. And we can have Quizios running at the same time as a campaign or challenge.
Okay.
Because we provide a different link. We provide the user with a link to get to the Quizio. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't appear by clicking on any of the icons. So when we schedule the Quizio, if there is an overlap notice here, and we notice that it's just overlapping with TLC or another Quizio, or even a campaign or challenge, since we're scheduling a Quizio here, that's just fine.
Okay.
However, if we were trying to schedule a challenge or a mini campaign or a campaign and we got the overlap notice and it was overlapping with another campaign or challenge, we would have to change the dates since we can't have two of
Overlapping.
those running at once in this tab here. So TLC has its own tab.
Yep.
Campaigns or challenges have their tab there. And then with Quizios, if you'll see here, there's a link that has popped up when we scheduled the Quizio. And if you click on the link, it will pop up this hyperlink. And now we'll have to provide that to the user somehow. And typically what we'll do is create a rewards activity specific for the Quizio, and we'll link to the Quizio within the activity, and the user can just click right on it. It will open a new page and take them to the Quizio.
Okay.
So that's typically how we'll provide it. We can also do custom dashboard tasks. So let's see. And we'll talk about how to customize these a little bit later, but we can create custom tasks, or you could send an email with the Quizio link. So somehow the user has to be provided with the link in order to access the Quizio. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's several different ways to do it. And in order to get the link, you just click on link and then copy it and place it where you want.
Okay.
So that's the last one. Now we've gone through campaigns, challenges, TLC, and Quizios in managed campaigns. And there's also this build campaigns tool, our campaign builder, and this is for custom campaigns and challenges.
Okay.
And this is also where, if you like any of the WellSteps tools that you use, but maybe you want to tweak them a little bit to fit your groups better, we can also duplicate our campaigns, and you can customize them specifically for your groups.
Okay.
So we'll hold off on this, since this is sort of a big chunk of training in itself. And then if you decide in the future that you'd like to do something custom, then we can go through it and
figure that out.
How to use it. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, we do have this custom tool here, and I guess I'll just show you what it looks like.
Okay.
So I think you won't see anything in your list right now, but as you're going through and looking through our materials, you can just let me know, and I can duplicate any of them.
Okay.
And then let's see. I'll just open one of these up. So you can go in, and it will show your company name. So it would either be Bongiovanni, or you could do it for a specific child company.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can do, you could set up a custom Quizio. You could do a weekly campaign or challenge, or a module-based campaign. You can make them team or individual. You can have them as long as you'd like. So even if you'd like to expand on some of our currently existing things, you can do that.
Cool.
And then within each week, you can customize the materials and link to anything, edit the quizzes, and all of that. So all of this is available. Keep me posted as you get started.
Yeah.
And
Can I ask you a quick question about the Quizios?
Yeah, no problem.
Like in your experience, when do you usually keep them running or available for like a long period of time? Is it like, what's a good example of how and when you use them?
Yeah, so typically I have a lot of groups that will do monthly Quizios. So we'll start them on the first and end them on the last day of the month.
Okay.
And we'll just include it as a monthly activity.
Mm-hmm.
Some groups will do education Quizios that we have for biometric values. So we have a BMI education, cholesterol, glucose, and one other one.
Okay.
I can't remember. Anyway, and sometimes those will be included as sort of alternative activities in case they didn't meet a healthy value or something like that. And in that case, we would have them open all year long. So
Okay.
December. And those would be open as a rewards activity. And we're going to talk in just a second about how to set that up.
Okay. And you can have multiple Quizios?
Yeah, you can have as many running at the same time as you'd like.
Okay.
So individual links.
Yep.
With one of my groups, we had quarterly Quizios, and there were 5 Quizios a month that we would, or 5 Quizios a quarter that we would have running.
Yep.
So yeah, you can do it for as long as you'd like.
Cool.
Typically, I think I usually do it for at least a month or longer.
Yeah.
Just to give enough time to get in there and do it. So
okay.
Yeah, do it for as long as you want. Okay, I think that takes care of campaigns. Any other questions on scheduling?
Not so far.
Okay, great. So now we're going to talk specifically about the rewards program. And this is our activity tracker tool. You can assign points to various activities, set up prize levels and point thresholds and all of that. So first I wanted to show you some resources that are available on the guides page. We have a whole rewards section here. It will link to the rewards section of the ops manual and just give you an overview of how to set things up if you want to review there. We have a rewards planning sheet template, and this is a template that we'll use with our groups to go through and plan the rewards program with them. You can take a look at that if you want. This rewards definition and reference page will go through each of the specific activity types that we can do in rewards. And so this is something that we would provide to our group so that they understand better the capabilities that the portal has.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we can integrate with My Tracker and automatically award users points based on their My Tracker data, which is cool. You
Yep.
drop down menus and variable points, all of that. So this is something that we would provide to our groups. We have an activity examples list, planning information, rewards discussion meeting slides if you want to have a specific planning meeting with your group based on rewards, marketing materials, and some other things right down here, some rewards reminder text if that's something that you would want to send out to your users. So there's some good resources on this page to help you with implementing and marketing and planning with your groups. You can look at. So that's available. And then just like all of the other tools, we start with this program build in company admin. And I will go to, I'll do it right here. All right, so to turn on the icon, just click the box like the other tools. And then this is where you'll set up the start and end date, reset any points, and there's some other options here as well. So you'll want to enter a start and end date, and this can be based on, it doesn't have to correlate with the PHA start and end dates, it could just be separate. A lot of my groups will do an annual program, so you can do, you know, January 1st to December, or whatever your start and end dates are. Outside of these dates, the rewards activities will not show in the rewards page. So if you, well, yeah, I guess that's sort of self-explanatory. So you'll want to put in the date when you want the activities to show and the end date for the last date that you want the activities to show in here.
So yeah, so say you didn't do it for a whole year. Like say you did it quarterly. So every time you start a new one, it would just start the points all over again, right?
Right. So there's some other steps that you would need to take. But if you do quarterly, what I usually do for that is I'll just put the whole year, start and end dates here, and then I'll just come in and reset.
Okay. What about for like campaigns and challenges? Do you usually run your rewards the same length?
Yeah, typically the program year will be the reward start and end date. So the start date of the program will be the start date of rewards, and then the end date of the program year will be the end date of rewards. Typically we'll do it that way, but some groups may start rewards a little bit later into the year, or might start, I don't know. Typically with my groups, it's just the reward start date is the program launch date, and then when we close the program out for the year to restart for next year, that's the rewards end date.
Okay.
But it just depends on your groups and how their program years run.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could also do these quarterly, but sometimes with quarterly, it's nicer just to leave them as annual date and then just come in and reset the points. So anyway, we can do the start and end dates here.
So how do you run your, like, how do you do your rewards in correlation with your challenges and campaigns?
Some groups like to include rewards activities specific to their campaigns and challenges and provide points for completing those. And some groups just have the campaigns and challenges running separately, so it's not really correlated with rewards at all. It's just sort of a separate tool.
Got it.
Different activities and rewards, but since the campaigns and challenges are usually so time consuming, it's nice to include them in the rewards program. So a lot of my groups do that, but some don't. So it just depends on your client. So if we look in my test company, I have the reward start date starting on the 1st of this year, and then it ends next year at the end of the month. And then the redeemable date is the date that will show on the prizes tab where the users can redeem their points for prizes. So this is really when you're going to start handing out prizes, and this shows on this prizes page right here. So the redeemable date will show down here. And this is nice to be able to change in case you have a quarterly system where at a specific time every month there will be a payout or whatever prize distribution. So you can change that redeemable date in company admin right here. Yeah. And then we have a spot for an honesty policy. And you can enter in any text there, and this will show on the rewards page right here. So they can click on the box, and then this text box will pop up with the text that you've provided.
Okay. So you can have your start and your end date of your rewards dates to be a year, but can you have them redeem quarterly?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So this redeemable date, it doesn't have to match.
Yeah. Okay.
That can be different.
Okay.
But you'd want it to be within these dates,
Yes. Yes.
probably, because I don't think it would show up once the rewards end date
Are
has.
redeemed.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yes. Yes. Okay. Got it.
yeah, since nothing really shows on this page.
Mhm.
If a user tries to log in after this rewards end date to access activities, I think it will just pop up a notice that says your rewards program has ended. Stay tuned for more information on next year's program, or something to that effect. So it lets them know that the activities are no longer available.
Yeah. So if they don't use those points or redeem them, they lose them.
Right. Well, they'll still be in the system unless you clear them out. But the redeemable date is more for employee information on when prices have been distributed.
Okay.
So this doesn't affect their points in the system or anything. It's merely just another piece of information that you can provide.
Okay.
And the reset points, these functions are down here, which we'll in just a second. So if you are including spouses in your programs and you've linked to them, or you have a user category and you have your spouses designated, you can allow rewards for spouses, or you can leave that unchecked, and then spouses who have been linked to the employee in the system, they won't be able to see rewards. This comes in handy because sometimes groups want to provide an incentive for spouses and sometimes they don't. So you can either allow it or disallow it.
Okay.
And then the next function down is copy activities from, and this will allow you to select another company from the dropdown, and it will copy over the text of the activities from that company. It won't copy over all of the settings. You'll have to go in and change the dates and things, which we'll look at in a minute. But this comes in handy because if you're testing for a group, maybe you set up a rewards program in your test company and make sure that everything looks good. Then you can come in and copy the activities over from your test company into another company. So that's where it comes in handy. And then you just copy activities. You still have to do some setting changes because the dates and some of the other settings won't pull, but the text will pull and all of the activities will be there.
Okay.
In their base form. So there's that function. And then we have an enabled prize selection button. And this is for different prize levels if you have multiple prizes available. So say you have bronze, silver, and gold, and for each of those prize levels, maybe there's 3 or some number of points available.
Mm-hmm.
If you check off this enable prize selection, it will let the user select which of those prizes they want to receive.
Okay.
But if you leave it unchecked, then it will just look like this with no little radio button for them to select anything.
Okay.
So if you are just doing one prize per level, you don't have to worry about that. This is only for multiple. And their selection will show up on one of our reports. So
okay.
That comes in handy. And then this next one, allow prize selection for all attained levels. This means that if there are prizes available for bronze, silver, and gold, and the user reaches gold, they could still select the silver or gold prize rather than just the gold prize. So if you want that to be allowed, you can check this box and they can select from any of the prize levels. Otherwise, they'll only be able to receive the prize in their current level.
Yep. Okay.
All right. All that making sense so far? Any questions
Yes.
on the floor? Okay, perfect. Now, there's lots
you can put multiple prizes under each one, right?
Right.
Bronze, silver, and gold. Okay.
Yep. And we'll look at how to do that in just 1 second. Okay, and then we get down to the resetting selections. So the first function is to reset all points. This will clear out all points and take everybody down to 0.
Okay.
The next one is reset before start date. And this one, so these two get a little bit tricky. Reset before start date you can use for quarterly activities. So what this means is that if you have an annual program that's running and you have your annual dates in here, if you want to clear out all of the points just for the first quarter, what you could do is come in and change the reward start date up here to the start of quarter 2. So it would be April 1st. And then you can come down and say reset before start date. And then all of the rewards activities that happened between December and the end of March, all of those points would be cleared. But maybe you're doing this in the middle of April and there are people who have completed some points in April already. All of those points will remain because the reward start date is April 1st. Does that make sense?
Yes. So that if you're going to do quarterly, that's how you would do it.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can do that. Some people like to reset all points at the end of each quarter, but this is sort of another way you could do it. it just depends on how your rewards activities are set up, which we'll look at when we get there. But yeah.
So wait, so what's the difference between resetting all and resetting before start date?
I'm trying to think of an example that I've used.
Like at the end of March, if I'm ready to start my next quarter, if I just hit reset all, wouldn't that just give me the
yeah, it would be the same thing. I know that I've used this before. I'm trying to think of the scenario. I think I had some rewards activities that were running from January to June, and the
Okay.
user had the chance to complete the activity for that whole 6-month period. You know what? I need to think about this because I know I've used it before, but it's kind of confusing. And I see what you're saying. It seems like it would be the same thing, but I know this has a specific function for where like how you set up activities, because you can set them up for specific dates. So let me get back to you on that. I just need to go review when I've used it. Typically, I'll just do reset all because they're very similar.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes, sorry. I didn't mean to make more work for you.
For some reason, I'm blanking on when I've used this. So anyway,
that's okay. Yeah.
Let me make a note. Okay, the next one is much more simple. We have the ability to set up annual activities, which means that they'll show all year, and then we can do monthly, which means that they'll refresh every month, or we can do just a one-time show the activity for one specific month. Some examples of annual activities might be completing the PHA, which would be open all year. Completing a biometric screening could be an example of an annual activity. Sometimes we do quarterly activities as annual. We set them up annually so we can do them for an extended amount of time rather than just monthly or just for 1 month. So a lot of those activities will be more bigger ticket items, and maybe we want to reset all of the other points for the quarter but keep those annual activity points so that users still have some points in the system. And an example of this would be, I have a group that does preventive screenings, which are just annual, but the rest of their points refresh. So maybe they went to the dentist in February, but then in the next quarter, we're starting the points over, but we still want them to keep those points from those preventive screenings that they did before. So in that case, I would come in and just do reset all except annual, and then it would take all of the activity points down to 0, except for those annual activities that they've completed.
Okay.
We'll look at how to set up annual, monthly, or one-time activities in just a second. Do these sort of make sense? This one, I don't know why I can't think of my particular examples for that one, but does the general idea of those make sense?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, reset. Okay, great. I'm going to change this back to. Okay, and then this next one, reset price selections, this correlates with enable price selections. If you select this box and then for some reason you need users to go in and reselect their prices, you can reset all price selections. And then you can send out an email and say, everybody go into your rewards page and select your price, something like that. And then that would look correctly. So these two are related right here. And then we have the option to do a rewards pop-up, and this is different than a pop-up in the general tab. So down here, we can do a dashboard pop-up. This will show on the home page of the Program Center. So that the dashboard pop-up will appear right here on this page, but the rewards pop-up would show specifically when they click on the rewards tab. So you can do reward specific information. You can select the start and end date, and then enter your text into there.
Okay. And where does that show? Just like across the top?
It shows up. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm in the wrong one. It should be down in rewards. Start and end date and pop-up text. It will show just like the honesty policy pop-up. So it shows as a white text box in the middle of the page, and then they have to click on. It wouldn't say I agree. They would just. I think it would just say close.
Yeah.
So they're going to exit here and then close. But you can hyperlink to anything in here or add images or something. So this is. The rewards pop-up would be way more customizable than the honesty policy box.
Yes.
And it would show more centered, I think, on the page. Good. Any questions on these tools right here?
No.
Good so far? Okay.
Yep, that's so far.
Great. All right. And then the last part here is we have on the prizes page a more information pop-up box. And this will show over on the prizes page down in the right-hand corner. So it says more information, click here. You can click on it and it will open a pop-up box. And you can put in any additional information on the prizes or rewards distribution dates or anything like that in this box.
Okay.
Yep, so you can do it right here. Click save. I usually use this to link to additional information on the rewards program in case there are any handouts or external resources that need to be included. So you can do that here. And then the others, we don't really need to worry about that right now. We'll come back to the rest of those. So there's a lot of miscellaneous tools in the company admin section of rewards. The most important ones to remember will be the start and end date here.
Yep.
And then you'll use the reset points and prizes probably most frequently out of the rest of this.
Okay.
I use the prizes more information box a lot to just provide more stuff, but yeah. All right. Everything here looking good?
Yes.
Any questions? Okay, great. So now we've done our initial setup of rewards, and now we'll go to the rewards tab in the admin menu. And the first thing we'll do is manage prizes. And this is where you can designate your prize levels and the points needed for each prize and the prizes available. So this tab is specifically for this prizes page. This is where we'll set up this page.
Okay.
So you select your company, go to my test company, and then you can designate. So when you first come to the page, all of these will be blank, and then you can designate which ones you want to use, and you can use any combination. So you could do one, just like this test group here. I just have gold set up, which is fine.
Yeah.
Or you could do, so you don't have to do them in any particular order. You can just set which ones you'd like.
Okay.
And then based on what you set here, it will show the different point thresholds. And as you can see, I have a lot of different user categories, and based on this, you can set different point thresholds for all of them. This is where having a lot of user categories gets time consuming because you have to go through and fill out all of these for each category.
Yeah.
With most groups, you just have, one category or maybe two. This was a more complicated setup that I was helping someone with, but say you just want to do, let's do a simple number. So you'll type in the number here for each of your categories, and then click the little save floppy disk. So you'd go through and do that for each of your levels, each of your categories. And then down here, oh, you know what? This is confusing. I'm going to go to a different group. So it's more simple. Let's see. I'll go to this group. Okay, so you'll just see each of your prizes here. And then down here, it will pop up for each of your different levels a customizable prize option. So you'll come in and click on edit, and then you can edit the rewards description, and you can actually edit multiple for each.
Okay.
So if you wanted to add another one for bronze, you would just do bronze here, and then if you had multiple categories, you could select which category you wanted to show for, and then add in another option, gift card. And then if you wanted to show this prize in a particular order in the list, so maybe you wanted to show the $50 on top and then the gift card second. We do sorting from 0 down, so 0 would show on top and then 1 would show second on the list. So maybe the first bronze one is sorted as 0, and then I want this one to show second, so I'll put a 1 there.
Okay.
So that's how you can add more prizes here, just clicking on add prize. And then if you want to delete any of the prizes that you've added, you can just click on the trash can and delete those. Yeah. And then this table will show all of your prizes, category, description, who it was modified by, and when. yeah, so this page is pretty straightforward. Any questions here?
No, it's pretty good.
Great. All right, and then the next step will be to set up your activity categories. And this is down in the rewards section. It's the third tab down, manage activity categories. And this just gives you a way to organize all of the different activities in your program. These bars right here, these are the categories. So you'll have the option to do the custom text and then select an icon to show for each category.
Okay.
And so that's what we'll set up
Okay.
in manage categories. I'll go to my test company. I think I already have some set up here. Yeah, so you'll go to your company, click add category, and then you can type in any custom text here. So
Oh, those are so cute.
you know, they turned out really well. So we have a bunch of different categories, and you can just select any different one that you want, and it will appear right here once you've selected them. And then if you want to change it, you can just click on the different ones, and it will change that image. And you can come in and at any time to change up the icon or the wording. So these are always open for editing.
Okay.
And then, so the sorting in our program center on the admin side, typically it's done from lowest, highest. So 0 would be on top, and then 10 would be at the bottom of the list. But it's different for some reason with rewards categories. So instead of going from 0 up, 0 appears at the bottom of the list.
Oh,
I'm not sure if they did it this way because it makes it so confusing. But this is the only place on the admin side of things where they do it from highest to lowest.
Okay.
So just make a note when you do rewards, and it actually will tell you right here.
Yeah.
It does it from highest to lowest. So yeah, you can just
Okay.
count down. And so if I had 6 categories or 7 categories, I would do 6, and this would appear at the top.
Yep. Got
it. And then, yeah, so you can see I have some different ones here. I can go in and edit. You can clear out the icon. You don't have to use the icons if you don't want to.
Okay.
If we don't use icons, this space will still be there, so the text will still sort of be indented. You have the option not to use an icon if you don't want to, or if your group doesn't want to.
Okay.
And then you can delete any categories as you want.
Okay.
The categories won't show up on the rewards page until there's an activity that has been put into the category. So even if you have 20 categories, if you only have activities in 5 of them, only those 5 will appear for the user.
Okay. But I will be able to see all of them.
Right. So you would be able to see all of them on this page, but
Yeah.
on the user, so on the user facing side, they would only see 2.
Okay. Good.
You only have activities set up in those 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this page is pretty straightforward. Questions on this?
Nope. Good.
All right. And there's a description here that tells you what this page is for. Okay, now we'll get to the actual activities page. Sorry, did you have a question before we go on?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay, sounds good. So we did manage prizes, manage activity categories, and now we'll go to manage activities. And this is where you'll set up the individual activities. So just like every other place, you'll go to your test company or whatever company you're working in. And then we can add activity, and then once you've added activities, you'll also have the option to delete all, or you can select individual activities to delete. So in order to add an activity, you'll just click add activity, and then it will pop up our activity manager box. At the top, we have the option to add in the text for the activity. So this is where you'll put the actual activity wording that will show for the user. So here's where you could do complete a campaign, and then put in the campaign title and the dates that it's running or something like that.
Okay.
Or you could do complete the healthy eating the go Quizio. And this is where you would link to the Quizio.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
as you can see, we have the editor here. So you could just highlight the text, click insert link, and then from the campaign manager page, you copied the link to the Quizio, and then you just enter it in here and set open in a new window, and then insert the link.
Okay.
Good there?
Yep. Now you can really type anything in this box?
Yeah, this is completely customizable. So any activity is open for you to use. Our activities have a certain formatting, so you can just type it straight in here, and you don't have to worry about font. You don't have to worry about size or anything because they all are sort of pre-formatted to this
Okay.
page, and they'll show up in this gray font
Yeah.
right here. So you don't have to do any other formatting like that. The only times that I do formatting will be to link to things. So for example, you can see here I have a biometrics form that I've linked to as a document.
Yeah.
I've put in email addresses. For the 2-week challenges, we have some paper trackers that we've linked to here.
Okay.
So you can do documents, you can do outside website links, you can do the Quizio links. But images won't show up here. And I guess you could link to videos as well, but you couldn't actually insert a video since it's really just text that shows here.
Yep.
But yeah, so mainly you'll be using this link function, and then I use the add insert file function a lot here for additional resources. But other than that, I don't really use any other formatting within this box since it's pre-formatted. Does that all make sense about Quizio's? How to
Yeah.
link in here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And we can set up a test one later. Okay, so you can do any text there, and then we have a bunch of different options. And the options down here will determine how long the activity shows for, who they'll show for, what sort of points they'll use, and all of that. So the first 2 functions can be used for required activities. You can select check for if this activity is required or not. Sometimes people will have a biometric screening activity that's required, or maybe it will be required to take the personal health assessment, or required to get a preventive screening, something like that. And then you can designate which level you want it to be required for.
Okay.
A lot of groups that I work with that use required activities, it will just be required for the very first price level. You can select any of them. And that means that until the user select or completes this activity, no matter the points they've received, they won't be shown, they won't be shown as in the bronze level until they complete that specific activity.
Okay.
So there's that function. And then you can designate the points for each of the activities. And then we put it in a category. So you'll see some WellSteps categories down here, but since we added the icon option, we always create custom categories. So then you can add your own icons and just customize them how you want. So you'll see the company that you're working in parentheses here, and all of your custom categories. And then you'll just select the one that you want it to show under from the list. And then we get to the frequency and start and end date. So here's where I was talking about before. We can do annual activities, monthly, or once. Annual activities you can set for any amount of time that you'd like. They could show for the whole program year. They could show for 3 months. They could show for 6 months. Okay. Anything that's longer than just a monthly activity is what you'll use annually for.
Okay.
The second option is monthly, and this activity will refresh every month. So for a lot of our groups, they'll do recurring healthy activities, and the user will check them off every month. And at the start of the new month, this category, it will refresh, so they won't have any more points in the category until they check off those activities again.
Okay. And typically, is it the same? You change the activities monthly, I'm guessing?
Typically, it would be the same activities monthly, but maybe we do activities of the month as well. So for example, in this particular test group, we have above and beyond monthly activities, and it's some different healthy activities that will refresh every month, and they won't change. So we sort of consider them like healthy habit building activities that we would put in the category. But then maybe we have some activities of the month, and those will be specific to each month. They'll be different every month.
Change every month? Okay.
Yeah, so that would be something that we would use the once function for.
Yeah.
So if you select once, then you have the option to select the start date of a month, and the activity will just show for 1 month, for the month that you've selected this date for. Okay. And our typical rule of thumb is to always select the start date or the first day of a month.
Yeah.
For all of the activities, just because sometimes it can
get confusing.
Yeah, or like maybe the system won't recognize it correctly. I don't know, like if you do a weird start date in the middle of a month, sometimes it's kind of weird. Yeah. So I always will just do the first of whatever month I'm working in. Even say if your program's starting on the 17th, if I'm setting up rewards and I have a monthly activity for December, I would just put in here
starting on the 1st. Yeah.
Yeah. even if it's in the past. It's just a little bit cleaner that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, so does that make sense, the distinction between these? This is just once a month, or just for 1 month from
Yep.
the month that you designate. This refreshes monthly. And in here you'll put the month that you want it to start and the month that you want it to end.
Mhm.
So I want this to show from December to March, and then it will refresh for
Every
those
month
months.
still, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
And
they
these
can re-earn points every month for the same activities.
exactly. Yep, with this designation they can.
Okay.
And then annually could be for any length of time. For example, if we want our Quizio to be for a whole quarter, we would select annually, and then we could do January to March,
Okay.
and then it would show continuously for that length of time.
Okay. Got it. And then does that automatically refresh at the end of the quarter, or is that something
Nope.
you manually
Yeah,
do?
so you would want to come in and change the dates, or maybe you'll have different quarterly activities, and those will be starting in April and going until June. So
Okay.
these for the annual activities, the dates won't change. If you want the dates to change, or if you want to extend an activity into another quarter, then
Yep.
you'll want to come in and change the dates here.
Okay.
So
Now,
good question.
can you plan out and like say for a year? Can you like plan out an entire year of activities and all this kind of stuff, or is it something you have to do one by one?
Oh, typically we'll plan for a whole program year. So let me pull up, let's see what this planning sheet looks like. I also have some examples of planning sheets that I've done. So typically with our groups, we'll look at a planning sheet like this and we'll plan
Yeah.
out the whole program. And then once we get everything set up, we'll go into the activity manager and set the whole program up for the whole year.
Okay.
So all
Oh,
of the quarterly
nice.
activities, all of the monthly activities, and you can see we have some standard categories that a lot of groups use, but
So you'll actually go in and set up the entire program year for one of your clients, and you'll have everything in there: the start dates, the end dates, the prizes, the points, everything. Nice.
definitely.
Good, because I was thinking like, how am I going to keep track of everybody's dates and like
Oh
the
yeah,
like month to month or quarterly? I had just like, oh my god.
definitely. Yeah, so I have one of these sheets for all of my groups just to keep all of the dates straight and their program components straight.
Yep.
Pull
Mhm.
up one with a group um, who does quarterly rewards, and I'll just show you what it looks like. So this is a group that I work with, and they have a very, very robust rewards program. It's really massive, but
Mhm.
the nice thing about it is that it's so customizable that you can really tailor it to your group and do it really anything that they want activity wise. So you can see all of the categories I have here, and then I've designated with this particular category, biannual preventive screenings, what quarters I want it to show for.
Yep.
And then I've designated the dates here. So these are the dates that I'll put into the start and end dates in the activity manager,
Yep.
December 1st to March 31st. And then let's see the same thing here. So you can do quarterly activities, and I have set these up already in the manage activities page. So all of these are in there with their dates ready to go and their points. And then let me scroll down to.
So this is nice. So you do this whole planning sheet ahead of time before you even go in and start setting everything up.
Yeah, so we do about 2 months, typically between 6 and 8 weeks of planning just with our groups before we even implement the program. And we'll
Okay.
go through rewards and specifically what they want the user to see. We'll choose the campaigns and challenges. We'll decide about the program start and end date and how they want to launch the program and marketing and communications and all of that. So we have a very intensive planning phase before
Yep.
we roll out the live program. And
Okay.
we'll always go through a planning sheet like this just to go through the rewards program specifically.
Okay.
So at this point with this group, I've set up all of the activities and their points and everything. And now the only thing that I need to do quarterly is to reset the points and
Got it.
then to change the redeemable date. So right now, the redeemable date for this group says, I think it says January 6th. So
Mhm.
at the end of the quarter, what I'll do is go in and reset the points, except for the annual activities because they want the preventive screenings. They want all of these activities to still have points in there for the users who've completed them. But
Yep.
all the activities will be refreshed. And actually, the quarterly activities I set up as annual activities as well. So the users will always have the points for quarterly and biannual and annual preventive screenings.
Okay.
Anyway, so I would reset all those points except for annual. I would change the redeemable date, and then we'd be ready to go. So there's some manual work depending on the setup of your group.
Yep.
But once you set everything up at the beginning, it's just really easy. It runs smoothly.
Maintaining it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, maintaining it.
Okay.
So we have this blank planning sheet on the guides page, and this might be really helpful for you if this is something you want to go through and do with your group, just to plan it all out, have it all set up.
For sure.
And have something to refer to. So, yeah. Okay, let me go back here. And then one other point here on the start and end date. These will be within the rewards start and end dates in the rewards tab. So in company admin, the start and end dates will determine what the user sees on this page, whether they'll see activities or no activities showing. But within each individual activity, the start and end date will determine if the activity shows in the category on this page.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So the company admin one, it basically is the user can see nothing or something. And then with each individual activity, it's for this specific activity, is it showing within the reward start and end dates? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In there?
Yeah.
All right. So questions on this first half here? Start and end category. Okay, perfect. All right, now we get down to the second half. So you can select what categories you'd like it to show for. For example, maybe there's some specific educational videos that you only want to show for an unhealthy population, and maybe you've split your group between healthy and unhealthy and you have them categorized out. You could select here, oh, actually, maybe that's not the best because we can do that with, WellSteps Plus. Okay, maybe you do an employee and spouse. Those are your two categories. And you want certain ones to show for spouses and certain ones to show for employees. You could select here who you want it to show for.
Okay.
The default's to show for all of them. Yes, and then we have some verification options. So the nice thing about our rewards program is that users can go in and check off their activities, but we can also provide verification for any of our activities that we'd like. And that means that the user just won't automatically receive points for checking something off. It will actually be verified by an admin. And we have a couple of different options here for this. So the first one is autocomplete. And this function can only be used with annual activities. So that's a note to make there. Autocomplete can only be used if the activity is set up as an annual activity in frequency here.
Okay.
And what autocomplete does, it means that the system will look at something specific that you designate and will automatically verify the activity for the user based on something that they've already done in the system. So we have a list of different conditions here. The first one is biometrics. So if you set this, it means that this activity will automatically be checked off and verified for the user if they have biometrics uploaded.
Okay.
And then this one would be campaign completion. And this is why we looked at campaigns before rewards, because you'll want to have all of your campaigns and Quizios set up before you come and set up your activities in case you want to use any of these. And then you won't have to go back after setting up campaigns and select all your autocomplete functions. So, oh, go ahead. Question? Did you have a question on that?
Oh,
or?
no.
Okay, sounds good. So you'll see all of our selected and scheduled campaigns and challenges here, and you can select from the dropdown which one you want to autocomplete. And our recommendations here are just to do TLC and campaigns and Quizios. And the reason for this is that the system will look at a 50% completion as complete, and 50% it will mark the user complete. Now, for our 2-week challenges or our mini campaigns, the tracker style for those is that every day they check off if they've completed the challenge. And if they just check off one day from 1 week, then it will count as a quiz completion and the system will count them as complete. So rather than having autocomplete for our challenges, we like to look at a report and just manually or like auto verify them, and we'll look at that option in just a minute. But just as a general rule of thumb, typically we'll just do auto completes for the Quizios, such as this one, the campaigns, and TLC.
Okay.
Does that make sense as to why we wouldn't want to do
Yeah.
challenges?
Yeah.
So, for example, if someone just marked off 2 days, it would mark them complete.
Yeah.
So it just is sort of a safety thing there. And I think we're working on how to change up the reporting here so it's actually accurate. But just for now, think of autocomplete for campaigns with campaigns, Quizios, and TLC.
Okay.
So select which one you want from the list. And then, yep, so for example, with this test one that we have going on, this is for the Healthy Eating on the Go Quizio. So I'll want to select this from the list. And like I was saying before, autocomplete can only be used with annual activities. So if you have monthly Quizios and maybe you just want them to show once, if you select once and just have the Quizio showing in a specific month, that will gray out, or actually it will just take away the autocomplete function altogether because it's not an annual activity. So, and in that case, you would want to auto verify it or verify it differently than autocomplete. So if you want the system to check it, all you would need to do is set it as an annual activity and just set it for 1 month.
Year.
So
Oh, just for a month?
Yeah, so you can still, well, if you wanted it to run for a month. If you didn't, if you wanted it to be more than a month, you would be using annually anyway. But this is just sort of a workaround in case you want to use autocomplete with a monthly activity. Does that make sense?
It does. So it'll only run for a month even though you have it set annually.
Right.
Okay.
So annually just basically means it will run for as long as you designate here.
Okay.
These two are nice because once automatically means it will just run for a month, and monthly just means it will refresh every month.
Yeah.
So you can use annually for 1 month just to use the autocomplete function. That's just sort of a workaround that I found in case you want to do that. It just takes a little bit more of the admin work off of you and puts it on the system. So in that case, we could still verify the Quizio because now we've selected it as an annual activity that's showing for a month. And now the system will look at their completion and say yes or no, they didn't complete it, and then it will automatically verify those points accordingly.
Okay.
So that's completing a campaign.
So where it says verification there, that drop down where it says no?
Yeah, so you can either do autocomplete or you can do another verification option, and we'll get there in just a minute. And this verification is more manual, and we take care of it through reports and uploads on our end. So this is a different option. You can either do autocomplete or you can do this option, but you can't have both at the same time.
Got it.
All right. So going through the list still, we can also do PHA. So you can have an activity checked off if the user has completed the PHA. And then you can also you can integrate with some of our other tools, WellSteps Plus. Oh, we don't have Wellness Plan, but when we talk about WellSteps Plus, we'll come back and talk about autocomplete for that. But yeah, so we can do biometrics, PHA, campaign, and then if you have a spouse, if spouses are included in rewards and you want to set something up so that employees linked with their spouse, so that the employees can see their spouse completions, then you would use these functions. So you would want biometrics right here to be for both the employee and the spouse. And then if you wanted to set up an activity just for the employees to see their spouse completions, how it would look would be that you would uncheck the spouses. So this activity would only show for the employees. And then you could select biometrics for the spouse. And it can be a little bit confusing because you'd think that this one would be used for the spouses, but what this actually is that it shows spouse completions to the employee.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, kind of. So, for example, I would set up 2 different activities if I was doing this. If I was doing it for biometrics, I would have this one set up. So we would say complete a biometric screening. And this would be for both employees and spouses. So I would have this showing for my employees and my spouses.
Okay, got it. Yep.
And then it would mark complete for the employees and the spouses once they had biometrics uploaded. And I would save that activity.
And at this point, the employees can't see if their spouse has completed it.
Right. They only
Like if you just left it like that, they would only see their own.
Right, exactly. So this would just be on an individual basis. Employees would see their completions, spouse would see their own completions,
Got
and
it.
that would be it. Now you would so you would save this activity, and then you would set up another activity, and you would say, my spouse completed biometric screening. And then you could unselect spouses here, so it would only show for the
Okay, I got it
employees.
now. Yeah, it makes sense now.
Yeah, and then you would select biometric spouse.
Yeah.
So does that is good now? Make sense?
Yeah, because technically it's an activity for the employee to verify that their spouse
For their spouse.
did it. Yeah,
Right.
I got it.
Exactly. So you could also, if you didn't want one to show for the spouse, you could just have two different employees or two different activities just for the employees. One could be for them and one could be for their spouse.
Got it.
That's the way you could set it up. Basically, these two different distinctions here are for two separate activities. One's individual and one's to see if your spouse has done it.
Okay.
But they would both show up on your list.
Yes.
So, okay, good there. Any questions on that?
Nope, good there.
Okay, perfect. So, like I was saying before, autocomplete can't be used at the same time as this verification option.
Yeah.
Now we have a bunch of other different ways to verify. So, if you click on this list, there's 4 options here. The first one is no, so the activity doesn't require verification. The user can just check it off and it may immediately get the points. The second one is yes, it requires verification, and it requires an upload from the user for verification. So this you would use if you require some form of proof of completion from the user. For example, maybe they need to upload an EOB or a receipt, or they need to upload a document or an image of some kind in order to receive verification for the activity.
Okay.
This could be for maybe with preventive screenings, they need to upload a note from their healthcare provider saying they got the screening or something like that.
Yep.
Select yes with upload, and this means that when the user checks off the activity, there will be an upload cloud that appears right here, and they can click on it and it will open up the file browser, and they can select a file from their computer to upload.
Okay.
So that's what yes with upload means. Yes, no upload required just means that when they check off the activity, it will just say pending. Oh, I have this set up as auto. Okay, let's try this one. So this is an example of yes, no upload required. So as you can see, it says pending right here.
Yeah.
And now in my pending tab, I have those pending points showing. And if I clicked on it, it would show the activity that needs to be verified.
Okay.
If this was yes with upload, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
If this was yes with upload, then there would have been a little upload cloud that appeared here. And this is
where does it clarify what the verification is? It's just a form.
You want to include wording about that in the activity itself.
Okay.
You want to say, please upload.
Or email or whatever you want them to do. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So right here I have, please email
email.
the form. Yeah. And it helps. I think we set it up this way for the test just because rather than having some people upload and some people email, we wanted it all to go in one direction.
Yeah.
So either upload or have email, whatever you want to do. But yeah, we include that wording within the activity text itself.
Okay.
Because the system won't give a prompt other than having that cloud appear here. And then there might be a little pop-up. Well, actually, I don't think so. I think the cloud just appears and then they click on it. So we talk about this usually when we do a program launch and we go through the program center and the different tools. If they have activities in their rewards program that require an upload, we'll just say, when you check off for these specific activities, just make sure you have this document. And when you check off the activity, you can just upload it by using this function right here. So we'll provide some information about it, or maybe we'll have it in a flyer or a rewards document or some communication.
Okay.
But otherwise, the system doesn't really prompt them or like give instructions on how to upload something, but it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
So I don't usually provide too much, and users don't really have problems with it. Let's see if I don't know. Oh, let's see, maybe this one. Oh, yep. Okay, right here. So this is what happens. Upload verification, you can select file straight from your file server and close. And then once you upload something, it will turn green and say complete. This will still say pending until it's been verified.
Okay.
that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that is yes with upload and yes, no upload required.
Mm-hmm.
Now these two are basically the same, except these will determine which admins can verify the activity. And this will just depend on who you're working with on site.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any coordinators who want to be involved in the verification process and they want to be able to verify activities, if you've selected yes and no, just these simple ones up here, then the people that you've designated as on-site coordinators and user admin will be able to see those activities to verify in their little admin menu that they have.
Okay.
If you select yes, guide only, that means that you and Liz and Nancy, whoever is designated as the reseller guide, only you will have access to those activities that need to be verified.
Okay.
And this we use just in case we have personal health information that the coordinators as the employers can't see,
Mm-hmm.
or we do really anything with personal health information that we don't want the coordinator to see, that's when you would use these.
Okay.
However, if you're going to be the only one working on verifying activities, then it doesn't really matter which one you choose, since you're going to be able to see the activities no matter which one of these four.
Right.
So these two are the same. Yes with upload, yes guide only with upload, and then no upload and no upload. It's all the same on the user side, but it's designating which admins can verify.
Okay. Let me ask you this. How much of this do you personally do, or do you find that you have people at your companies that are adminning this?
With my groups, I would say probably me and my co-guides, we do probably 85% of the verification.
Okay.
There might be some groups, I know I have some groups that do on-site activities as rewards activities, and in that case, because we don't have any access to on-site attendance or anything like that, they have those records. And so we would do, yes, one of these two, and then the coordinator can go in with their completion list and just mark off for the users. And we'll look at how they can do that.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay.
But we do most of it.
Okay.
So it really just depends on your groups and who your on-site coordinator is and how involved they want to be in all of that.
Yes.
But we do have those options there. So any questions on verification as far as setting it up here goes?
Nope.
Great. All right.
Well,
and then
actually, I do have one, but you're probably going to get theirs. Where do you get notified as the admin of all these verifications you need to make?
Yeah, good question. So you actually don't get notification.
Okay.
We'll work out a verification schedule that's specific to our group. So rather than receiving a notification every time somebody needs an activity to be verified, which would be a lot since everybody services a lot of users depending on the size of your company.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we just sort of have a monthly schedule, or some groups like to do bi-weekly, or you can just work it out how you'd like based on your schedule and with your groups. With my groups, I'll typically do it once a month or twice a month.
Okay.
Just at the end of the week, and it's really simple to go through and do verifications.
Okay.
So it doesn't take very much time, but it's nice just to have a regular schedule.
Yeah.
Not just ending points sitting in there, for months.
Right.
Yeah. I'll just put it on my calendar as a reminder.
Yep.
And it'll just say verify activities for this group, or I just go through all of my groups and do some quick. So, yeah, good question. Okay, so now finishing off the activity manager, there's a few different designations. We can set an activity by location, and this is nice in case you do have any groups with on-site activities. If they only want the activity to show for a specific location, you can select that from the drop-down. Health code refers to our WellSteps Plus tool, and this will be based on biometrics and whether they're in the healthy or unhealthy category based on their values. So this might be, and once we get to WellSteps Plus, we'll talk more about this, but if you have alternative standards or something that you want to show for the unhealthy group, you can set those up as activities in their own category and select unhealthy, and it will just show for that population. So that comes in handy when you're doing biometric values and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can do a few different activity options. So down here is actually where we get to separating out the regular activities from drop-down menus or user input or any of that. So the first one, we can do My Tracker integration. And this means that if the user has set up a My Tracker and they have data pulling or they're entering data manually, they can be automatically awarded points every month based on their data. So you can enter in a monthly average. So you could do the monthly average in steps. Maybe you want them to do 8,000 steps every day for the month. And then you could do different things here. And then you can put in the point value that you want to be awarded. And all of the My Tracker activities, those points are awarded on the 5th of the month for the previous month.
Okay.
When those points will be awarded. Now we can also do variable points with My Tracker. So you could do, like it was showing in the grayed out text, you could do any amount. And you would just separate them by commas. So as you can see here, I'm entering in the different values, but I'm just separating by commas and not spaces.
Yep.
This just tells the system.
And then you could do separate points for each.
Yep. So you could do 30. So I think I have 5. So you could do 30, 40. And you can do any different increments that you want.
Okay, so now where it's saying steps, minutes, and miles, like, what are they getting the points for? Like, what if they do the steps but not the minutes because they walk real slow?
Right, right. So we've set it up this way because when the user sets up their My Tracker, they can select a different unit. So this just means that whatever unit they're tracking in, they can get points for any of those units.
Okay.
For example, you don't have to be tracking in steps. You don't have to be tracking in any of these specific things. You can choose what you want, and then based on what you choose and what you've set up in here, you can get points for doing whatever you do. So you don't have to do them all. You just need one set up in My Tracker.
Got it.
Does that make sense? So it just is sort of alternatives for each of these. So for example, with my groups that I have that do this, a lot of times we'll do something that's varied like this, but maybe we'll try to include those who are actually, it might look just like this, people who are less active and people who are more active.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll down here and do 20 and
big range.
Yeah. So we try to cater it so that it's challenging, but that more fitness levels than just those who are really active could get points.
Right.
Yeah. So you can tailor it to your specific group population and what might work for them.
Okay.
The nice thing too is with some groups that we've started with in year 1, we might realize in looking at some of our reports that people just aren't getting points for these because it's too high, or maybe we just need to change this up a little bit. So you can always come into your activities and change up the requirements in here if you're finding that users aren't reaching or aren't receiving points for a My Tracker activity or something like that. So the nice thing is that any of this can be edited once you've
at any
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So you can come in and make any edits to this as needed. Okay. So you can do monthly average. You can do monthly total. Oh, right. So with My Tracker activities, since it's monthly verification that the system does, you'll want to set it as monthly.
Okay.
And set it for just basically the whole program year, and then it will refresh, or however long you want it to show, and then it will refresh every month. Because like I was saying, My Tracker awards points on the 5th for the previous month, so it's on a monthly cycle.
Okay.
Anyway, so monthly average, monthly total, and this could be maybe you want them to do
daily. Yeah. Okay.
So this would be a total, and then you can do daily total. And let's see, for some of my groups that do this, they do really small point values because every day you can get points for these.
Yep.
So maybe they do 1 to 5 points, and then that would be 30 points up to 150 points per month.
Yeah.
And then you can do just all of that. So with daily, you can do smaller point values. Something to remember is just that they get points every day. So yeah, and then with monthly average, it would just be a chunk of points for the month.
Okay.
Yeah. And then with My Tracker, you can manually enter data. With these activities, it doesn't have to be data from a device.
Okay.
As long as they have something in My Tracker, whether it's device data or manual data that they've entered, they can still get points for it.
Okay.
Questions on this right here?
Nope.
My Tracker. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to say no. Okay, and then we can do, so So this just got added, but I'm thinking that this device integration means that they'll still have to have a device sync, but this won't include manual data. So if you just want to set something up where, oh, what is this? Okay, I haven't been trained on this yet since it just got added, but let's see. I'm just gonna look. Sleep hours. Okay, so maybe this is just for device data outside of what My Tracker can capture, because with My Tracker you can have a device sync, but it will only pull into the exercise trackers.
Okay.
You have Apple Health or maybe Google Fit. Sometimes it will pull other health data as well, such as sleep.
Yeah.
It looks like sleep is the only one that we have. So I guess with device integration, you can do verified activities for sleep hours based on device data.
Huh.
That's what that looks like.
Yeah.
I'll let you know once I'm more trained on this, but that's what it looks like to me. So extra health data pulled from devices. Okay, and then our last option is show user input, and this is where you can do a text box or you can do a drop-down menu. If you want to do a text box, you just check the box and leave this blank, and it tells you right here, leave blank for a text box, or comma separate values for a select box or a drop-down menu. Now, if I wanted to do a drop-down menu, I could do, let's say that our activity is selecting their daily whole grain servings for the month or something. So we could do one serving, separate by a comma, but no space again, etc. So you would just designate your different drop-down items there, and then you could either
Wait, and where is that? What are we putting this in for right now? I'm confused.
Oh, so this is if you want to do a drop-down menu. So for example, if we set up an activity where we say, choose your daily whole grain, and we want to create a drop-down menu so that the user can select from a list.
Yep.
We would go down and check off show user input.
Got it. Okay.
And then rather than leaving it blank for a text box, we want to show a different serving amounts.
Yep.
We do that there, and then we can do different point values. So you can separate these out as well. You can do variable points here, or you could do the same point for each designation. An activity that I've done before is maybe you have a stress relief activity and they can choose something to do from the list, but you want them all to be weighted the same. That's when you would just use the same point values for each of the activities.
Okay.
Maybe just a different way to provide more information or ideas to the user, just a different format than just doing straight text. Yeah, so you can do the drop downs there, and then you can just leave blank for a text box, and that will just pop up under the activity. There will just be a box here, and they can type anything in and then check off the activity.
Okay.
For example, let's see, I'll go back to this planning sheet. So for example, with this group, we do please enter the date of your screening and provide your electronic signature. So for these activities, I've checked off the show user input box, and then it will just pop up a text box for these activities that they can type in and then check off the activity for verification.
Okay.
So that's an example of when you could use that. And then the last function is to sort. So if you want your activities to show up in a specific order, then you would do 0 on top and then 10 at the bottom, or in ascending order for going down the list.
Okay.
So this is different than the categories. The categories is in ascending order, and then this, just like every other place in the system besides rewards activities, goes with 0 at the top and then down from there.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's so confusing.
No, that's okay.
Set it up, the more you get the hang of it. But all right, so that is the manage activity box. Questions on this? This is something you'll definitely want to play around with as well. So
Yeah. Nope, I'm good.
questions currently? Okay, sounds good. All right, so you can save your activity once you've set it all up how you want, and then it will appear here on your list. Now, if you want to go back in and change any dates or do anything, you can just click on the activity, and then you can, as you can see, you can edit anything here. So You can make any changes that you'd like, save changes or close, and then you can see what category it's in, how many points it's for, if it's required, start and end dates. If you've chosen to just do a one-time activity, so rather than annually, if it just says once here, then the target value will be the start date of the month that you've set, and this just means it will run for that month. So
Okay.
let's see if I do test and then once target date, maybe this is for January. Click save. Search for it in the box. Oh, let's see. Maybe I'll do this. Sort. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you can see once and then target value here for January.
Okay.
And then you can see what user categories it's for, if it requires verification, and what you designated here. If it's autocomplete, such as for this activity, I think I did complete a biometric screening. Yep, so in autocomplete, I have biometrics. So if it's autocomplete, you'll see here complete action IDs, and this is, you don't really have to pay attention to this, it's just back-end information.
Yep.
But if there are numbers here or values, that means that you've set something up in autocomplete.
Okay.
Now you can select any activities, delete, select all, delete. Yeah, so I think that takes care of adding activities. Any questions that you've thought of? We go on? Okay, great. So let me make sure that I've got all the setup pieces done. Okay, we set up all the activities. We looked at Quizios, My Tracker, drop-down menus, linking to things. I think that takes care of it. Okay, so now, like I was saying, on the admin side of things, there's a lot of different ways that we can verify activities. We have a bunch of different options, so we're going to go through these one by one, and you can see the different options that are available. So in the rewards section, we have some different verification options here. The first one is verify activities, and this one is where you'll verify on an individual basis. So you can come into the verify activities page, select your company from the drop-down. I'll go to this group. And then there's this designation here that says show all activities. And if you click on that, it will show all of the activities that you've selected with yes, with upload, or yes, no upload. It defaults on just showing those activities that you've said should be guide only.
Okay.
So if you're expecting there to be activities in the list and you come in here and there's not, just click on show all activities and it will show all of your verifiable activities that people have checked off.
Okay.
And then you can toggle back and forth between the two. So if you do have groups where coordinators are going to be working on doing some verifications, you can just work on your own guide activities if you set any of those up, and those will appear first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. So as you can see here, my test user has completed a couple of activities. You can see their company username, what activity they've checked off, the date that they checked it off. And then there's a couple of different options here which are useful for verification. So the first one is user input. And this is if they've selected something from the drop-down box or if they've entered something into the text box. Yeah. So for example, with that activity we were looking at with the preventive screenings, the date and electronic signature would appear, and I could look at it, see that they did it, and then I'd come over here and check the green box and process activity, and that would verify the activity for the user.
Okay.
If you've done something, so for example, with this activity, we needed the user to upload something, but I don't see the file will appear here. And if they upload an image, you can click to view a preview of the image. So you'll see any sort of evidence pop up here.
Yep.
You can download or look at. So maybe for this user, we want to verify, but for this user, we want to deny the activity. And what this does, it will remove the pending points and uncheck the activity for the user. And this, and when you verify an activity through this function, through verify activities, an email will be sent. It will be automatically triggered once you process the activity.
Okay.
And it will either say, this activity has been verified for you, or it will say, this activity has been denied, and
here's why.
And here's why. Yeah. So for example, I could provide
You clicked on the trash can, right, to get this to pop up?
Yep. So I clicked on the trash can. It will open up well, it would turn red, and then yeah, you'll have the mail. So I would say, please upload your paper tracker, and then that will enter in this line into the email, and the email can be found in company admin. So after this, we'll go and look at that email, and it can be customized, and you can see exactly what it says. But for example, if this user, maybe we have multiple activities that are being denied, it will only send the user one email, but maybe there's different directions for each of the different activities. So this is nice to customize for each activity without bombarding the user with emails.
Okay, so when you fill this out, it's not automatically emailing them.
Right. So once
Only
you
when you verify, only when you do verify it.
Yeah. So once you click on process activities, once you hit that, then the email will be triggered. But just clicking on the mail, that doesn't trigger the email.
Okay.
The little email icon. So for example, let's do this. So I'm going to process activities now, and it will remove those from my list.
Okay.
So now let's go look at manage companies, and we'll look at the rewards deleted. Let's see, I'll just company. So this is one of the tabs at the very bottom of the rewards section that I said we come back to. So we scroll down, and then we have deleted rewards activity message. We click on edit message, and then it will open up the email. So as you can see, we have the subject line, rewards activity not added. And then it says, dear first name, you submitted the following activity. And then it will enter in the deleted activities along with the specific reason. So it will just list out those deleted activities.
Okay.
And then it gives some other information. So it says if you do not see a specific reason listed out, it could be one of the following reasons. Proof was not uploaded, you did not complete enough campaign weeks to qualify, or the requirements were not met. And then just some recommendations on resubmitting the activity, and then it will enter in, for additional questions, contact your rewards admin email.
Okay.
And that usually is just the guide on the account.
Okay.
So you can make edits to this email as you'd like. This is just our standard email.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you want to, you can also select for there to be a text message that says a few rewards activities were not added or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that option's there for you as well. And then you can save any changes that you make and close it. So that's how you can access that email in company admin in the rewards section.
How do you send it?
So it's an auto email that sends once you verify activities.
Okay, I got it.
So
now that you edited it, it'll automatically get sent? Or you go back and verify? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so this right here is just to edit the auto message.
Yeah.
Doing anything in here won't actually trigger the email to send. This is just what you want to be sent once you process activities and verify activities. Does that make sense?
You doing this before you go and
Right,
verify.
yeah. So you would want to do this before you do any verification. Exactly.
Got it. So now when you go to your verification list and you deny somebody, this is the email they'll get.
Exactly.
With whatever you've added in your little text box there.
Exactly, yep.
Okay, and then as soon as you hit verify, that verify button at the top of the page, they'll get this email.
Right, yep, the process activities button.
Yes.
Once that goes through, yep, they'll be sent the email. And the completion email is it's very standard. It just says, the following activity has been added for you, and then it will list the activity or activities.
Okay.
This would be on my list to do before the program year launches. So if I have a specific edit I want to make to this message for a company, I would come in before the program year even launches.
Yes.
Save changes, and then just have it ready to go.
Okay.
Good question. Does that all make sense?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So again, this is in Company Admin in the Rewards tab, and the verification method we just went over was the Verify Activities tab.
Okay.
And that's just on an individual basis. You'll see all of the activities listed out that need to be verified.
Okay.
Now, as an admin, it can be really time consuming to go through and do things manually. So we have another option where you can upload lists of completers for a specific activity, and it will just mark them all complete and verify the points.
Okay.
And this option is auto verify, which is right below verify. So auto verify is for a list of completers. You'll choose your company from the drop down. And then, as you can see, we can either verify or unverify, and these are the same options as are in the verify activity. So it's just the difference is in verify activities, you're doing things individually, and here you're going to be doing things with a list, but the same emails will be sent to the users.
Okay.
It's just a difference in numbers. So you'll select the activity you want to verify for. And I am actually going to go to different groups. So we have a bigger list to choose from. So for example, maybe we have a campaign activity that we want to verify. We have a lot of reports on the campaigns, and we can download a completer report, see exactly who's completed it, and then we can come in here. So let's say we're actually doing it for a Quizio. And these Quizios for this group, they're monthly, but I didn't set them up with the annual dates to autocomplete. I just did it. I'm just going to do it manually. Maybe there's so many here. Maybe I'll go back and reset it up. Anyway, so let's say we're verifying a Quizio and we've downloaded the completer report. All we need to do to verify is to upload a CSV file containing the company usernames. And this will verify or unverify, depending on what you want to do, the points for the activity. So all you need is a CSV. You just have an Excel file with your company username in the list here. And then you save it as a CSV, have it ready to go. And then you choose your file, and then you can automatically check the activity for the user. And if you deselect that box, then you'll just verify it for those who have checked off the activity. And for everybody else, even if maybe they're on their list, if they haven't gone into the rewards page and checked the activity, it won't be verified for them. I typically always select this just to save the users a step.
Yep.
And then it automatically checks off the activity. Then you can select the completion month. Usually, if it's for a campaign, or I think actually the drop down depends on how long the activity is set up for in reward. So if the activity is only showing up for a month, then only that month will show in the drop down. But maybe an activity that's showing for let's try this one. Oh. That's going to be a good one. Anyway, if the Quizios are showing for a few months, then you can select a different month here from the drop-down, and then it will put those verified points in that specific month's tab. So what I'm talking about there is this month's tab here. It will show their points for the month. And if you verify something, maybe we're in December now, but we want to verify an activity for November, instead of putting those points in this December month, they'll be able to see it in the November tab.
Okay.
So it's just, that just will determine where the points show, what month they show for. And then we can decide if we want to send an email to the user or not. So right now we're going to verify an activity, click auto verify, and then it will pop up a green box with everybody that was successfully auto verified. The other option here is to unverify, and this, just like in verify activities, it will uncheck the box and allow the user to resubmit the activity.
Okay.
So if we want to unverify, we'll check that box. You can select the activity to unverify for, and then upload the file and go through the same process. And this email will send that deleted activities email, the same one we were just looking at, and then you do unverify. So you'll just, if this box is unchecked, you'll be auto verifying. If you check it, it will unverify, and that just allows the users to resubmit.
Okay.
So where this, in this case, if you unverify, you can't actually add custom messages here. It will just send the specific email, and it will give them those pointers on what to do, but it won't have tailored information like verify activities will.
Okay.
But otherwise, it'll be the same the same email that gets sent.
Okay. Do you use this a lot?
It depends on the group. Sometimes for a couple of my groups, there will be a lot of users that will just go in and try to check off all the activities.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I want to, so for example, for this Quizio, maybe at the end of the month, I'm verifying stuff, and I want to verify for everybody who completed it and then unverify for everybody else, so that those pending points are removed and they don't see it. if you have groups where users are just really gung-ho and they like to check off everything, then you would use this, but other times it doesn't really matter. And anyway, yeah, this is sometimes nice to use just because it removes pending points, even if the user doesn't complete something. It'll sort of clean up the rewards page a little bit. But more often, if there's something that I need to unverify, I'll just do it individually. I'll be in here doing things that require document uploads or a text box input, things like that, and that will more be where unverify comes into play rather than using an auto list to unverify. More if you're wanting to actually remove an activity from a user's list, even during the dates when it's open, that would be auto deny. So or unverify will just allow the user to resubmit. It will remove the pending points and the check mark. Auto deny actually removes the activity from the user's list so that they can't tick it off. And this could be used for an activity. Maybe there's a certain time where they have to complete a biometric screening. Maybe they're only available for from January to March, and then after that date, we don't want to verify the activity anymore. What you could do in that case would be to auto verify, or you could do autocomplete for everybody who's completed biometrics. And then for the rest of the company, for those who didn't complete the requirements for that activity, you could come into auto deny and do the same thing as auto verify with a CSV with company usernames for all those you want to auto deny for. And then you select the company and the activity that you want to deny for. And like it says there on the right, it will remove the activity and no longer let it appear on the user's checklist.
Okay.
So does that distinction make sense? Unverify simply unchecks the box, allows the user to resubmit. Auto deny will actually remove the activity completely from the user's list.
Okay.
And then you just choose your file and deny. And I don't think that there is an email that sends in this case. I think it just removes the activity from the user's list. But with unverify and when you're unverifying activities individually, since there is an option for them to resubmit the activity, that's why the email sends, just giving them another chance. But without a deny, since there's not really anything they can do at that point, since the time has passed, it doesn't send any communication out.
Okay.
All right, so any questions on auto verify or auto deny?
Nope.
Okay, great. All right, then we get to edit activities by user. And this is an individual verification option, just like verify activities. But in this verify activities option, we have the full list of pending points. And edit activities by user, we can go into a specific user's page and see what activities have been verified and what and just their whole list of activities. Okay. So this just comes in handy in case you are doing any sort of customer service and you get emails from users and they want you to look at their points or verify something specific for them.
Activities.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just select your company and then you can select a month to look at. And these months are based on your reward start and end dates in company admin.
Okay.
Based on what months you have running there. And then you'll see all of your users here on the list and you can click on activity list. You can see their company username, their point total, and their level. And then if you click on activity list, the entire list of rewards activities that are currently available in the month that you've selected will appear here.
Okay.
So you can come in and check any items complete, and you'll see this deny function. So if you've used auto deny for any users, and then maybe they email you and say, I completed this late, but I never submitted my form, you can come into edit activity by user to the specific user, and the activity that you've denied will appear in red, and you can just uncheck it and then verify it for them. Okay. So this is just nice, just in case you need to do individual user things.
Yep.
You can mark off any activities. If it requires verification, it will say why here, so yes or no, and then you can verify or unverify.
Okay. What if the activity's already been removed from there?
Oh, yes. So in that case, when you come into the page, that activity will have, if you've used auto deny, there will be a red mark here. And then you can just say, I want to not deny that, and I want to mark it here for them. Or you could just not deny it. So for the example I was using, maybe the user has a form and they need to upload it. So you can just tell the user, okay, I've undenied this activity. It's now showing on your list. So go in and upload your form, and then I'll verify it for you, or something like
Okay,
that.
so it'll show back up on their list.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So once you unclick that deny function there, it will show on their list again, but
Okay.
only for that specific user. So it's just nice on a one-off thing. And then maybe say for that same example, maybe the user sends you the form that needs to be uploaded, and you already have it, and you know they don't need to upload it. So you can just come in and say, okay, I've verified this activity. It should now be showing on your list.
Okay.
So you can do.
How long does this information stay stored in here?
For the whole program year. So until you reset the points and reset the whole rewards program, all of this information will be in.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. And that's why we typically run our program years annually, or we at least have a couple of weeks where we close down the program and reset, just to make sure that our list is current, all the dates are current, and that we have a refreshed list for the new year, rather than running everything back to back. It just gives us time to clean things up a little bit on the back end.
Yep.
So yeah, okay. So this is another individual way to look at rewards and check things off. So now we've looked at two options for mass verification or denying, and two options for individual verification. Verify activities shows the whole list of pending points. Edit activities by user will show each individual user's page. Auto verify, you can it's just a mass version of verify activities. You can upload a list for checking off or unchecking the activity. Auto deny removes the activity completely from the list.
Yes.
Questions on those? Does that sound good so far?
That does, yes.
Okay, sounds good. And then the last function, I have actually never used this one before. I typically just work in these top four, since that usually just fits exactly what I need. But the last option is delete activities by user and location. If you have maybe you've set an activity for an on-site activity for a specific location for a group, you come in and choose the company. I don't have any set up here, but let's see. Oh, maybe this is you delete all of the activities for a specific user or for a specific location. I think that's what this is. I've never used it before. Yeah, so it looks like you could input the email or select a user from your list in the company you've designated, or for a complete location, and then you just delete all of the points for that user or that location.
And what do you know any circumstances where you would use that?
Well, let's see. Maybe, I don't know. I guess it seems to me like you would use it more if things have been verified incorrectly, or maybe, honestly, I can't really think of something.
Yeah, it's weird.
The reason that they added this tool, it's probably just nice to have the option on the back end in case it would ever come up. The only thing I can think of would be for a location, in case you have something set for a specific location and things were verified incorrectly. Maybe a coordinator sends you a list of those who didn't attend versus those who did attend, and you upload the wrong list, and you need to, but actually you would use unverify for that. This would delete all of the points for all of the users in that location. So I'm honestly not really sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, like I said, I've never used this option. But I guess just in case you ever need it to delete all the points for a user or location, that's there.
Okay.
More you could just, I use these for, and it works for everything. Yeah. I need to do. Yes. Okay, there's actually one other place where you can view a user's rewards page, and that's in Manage Users. And this is just nice. You can either impersonate the user, or you can use the little rewards icon. So down here in options, the middle icon is the rewards page. And if you click on that, rather than having to open a new browser and copy the login link and everything, if you click on that rewards icon, it will take you into the user's rewards page view. And this is just nice to see for that month what's showing for them, what has been verified. There will be a little date stamp here, just like on the user's view, when you check off an activity, it will show a little time or date stamp there. When you
Okay.
go in here, you can see that date, you can see their input, you can see pending points. So this is sort of a similar tool to edit activities by users, except it's more, this shows more like what the user will see.
Right.
And there's some admin functions here as well. So for example, for this activity, if you need to come in here and deny the activity or verify the activity, you can do it. So the icons look similar to edit activity by user. You can either deny the activity, remove it from the user's list.
Mm-hmm.
You can check it off.
Yep.
For the user. You can add in any values or text for them. And then check off the activity for them. And then if it requires verification, this little icon will appear to verify, and then you can click to verify. Oh, I guess there's no points associated with that one, but let's see. So check it off and then verify it. Oh, none of these are showing pending, but if it did say pending, you could click on the verification thing and it would verify.
Okay.
So
Now, is this goes by month, or is it?
Yeah. So for the users, their default view will be the current month.
Okay.
But you can also go back to any of the previous months. However, for the users, they can only see in previous months the activities that they have checked off. So let me look here.
The things they've completed.
Yes. Since I'm looking at an admin view, I can see the rest of the activities.
Mm-hmm.
But for the users, for example, in January, once they've reached, okay. So they can check off 1 month previous, but past 1 month previous, they can only see the activities that they completed for the month.
Got it.
So we're in December. I could check off any activities in November that I completed, but in October, I can now only see those that I completed in October. However, in January, those November activities will be cut off, and now I'll only be able to see what I've completed in January. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You only have 1 month previous, and then you can see what's coming up in a month.
Yeah.
Otherwise, users can only see what they've completed.
So they can still go back a month and check off what they've completed.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that's where edit activity by user and even this function comes in, because as admins, we can go in and check things off that are previous to 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
By things. So yeah, okay. Questions on that? Everything okay so far?
Yeah.
All right. So now we have these 5 options to verify. These 4 here, and then the icon in manage users.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've actually never used this function before either, reset points by location, but I'm guessing I'm guessing that it functions similarly to delete activities.
Yeah.
By location. You can just reset all the points by location, but again, I've never used either of these two.
Okay.
And I'm not really sure of scenarios when you would need to use these more. I think they might just account for admin error in case we do something that needs to be reversed quickly or something like that. So yeah. Okay, so now we've gone through this whole section here. Let me check my schedule. Okay, we went through auto, deny, auto verify, all of that, rewards icon. Okay, so the last part here is that down in MISC Utilities, we have an option to download all of the files that have been uploaded for a rewards activity.
Okay.
So we'll go to my test company. And while we're here, I'll show you the configurator, since that we've already looked at things that relates to. Okay, so right here it says download rewards files. Now, let's see what activity I could do. Maybe we have an activity that's similar to this one, where we need the users to upload their paper trackers, and I just want to download all of the trackers at once and create an auto verify list so that I don't have to go through and manually do it all and verify activities.
Yep.
So I'll go in here and select that paper tracker challenge activity, and then submit. And then since there was nothing for that activity, it won't say anything, but it will automatically start the download. And then you can clean out your files, and that just keeps our file server clean and our system clean.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have problems, you can click there. So it just depends on your activity setup. If you know you're going to have a lot of documents being uploaded,
Mm-hmm.
this would be a good option. And then you can just go through them all, create a CSV, and do an auto verify.
Yeah.
So that you can your list. Or maybe you're getting to the end of the year and you want to download all of the files and just have them in storage, but remove them from the system so you can get things cleaned up for the next year.
Yep.
Because once you clear out your rewards activities and reset them, those downloads they'll be like in the system, but you won't really be able to access them because these activities will be refreshed, if that makes sense.
So do you do that at the end of every year?
Yeah. At the end of the program year, for any activities that I have files in here for, I come in here, download them, and clean them out just as a resetting step for the next year. Yeah.
Okay. And do you keep them though? Do you
Yeah.
keep? Yeah.
I'll typically just delete after 1 year. So it depends on the information too. If it's biometric information, typically I'll just put it in a zipped folder.
Yeah.
And label it for that year, and I'll keep it. Let's see, I think I have 2 years worth for a couple of my groups, just depending on what files I have.
Okay.
Otherwise, I just delete them. I don't know. It really just depends on your own process and if your clients like to have or like to look at things. I don't know. Just depends.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's go back. Since we have just a couple of minutes left, let's go look at the configurator. And this is something that I still need to play around with a little bit, but I'll explain it the best that I can, and then we can both try it out and see what we think.
Okay.
So, in the past, when we wanted to change, so this is changing gears. And actually, before we go over that, any other questions that you have on rewards?
Nope.
Does that all make sense?
I'm good.
Okay, good. So yeah, that's the whole rewards program. Okay, now switching gears a little bit, back to when we talked about user admin. When you're actually uploading a user file, after that, you can't, unless you go into each user's individual page and edit their email and date of birth and things like that, you can't change the company admin once it's been uploaded unless you use this tool in MISC Utilities.
Okay.
So if you have big lists of edits that you need to make to a company directory, such as changing a company username or changing email addresses or date of birth or any other user-specific information that you need to change, you'll come in here and use the configurator. In the past, we had a function for each of the different items. So we had a function for changing company username, we had a function for changing emails, a function for changing location, a function for changing date of birth.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've sort of combined them all into one tool called the configurator. And this will allow you to customize what changes you're wanting to make to the directory, and it will tell you how to format your CSV based on what you want to change.
Okay.
As you see right here, we have the different columns, and as we're going through and filling out what we want to change, this will populate with how you want to format your CSV. So if we go down here, you can select your company, but since you've gone to MISC Utilities and selected your company, it should just pop up right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first column is handling blanks. And what this means is if a column is left blank, it will just, based on your setup, it will just leave the information for the user as is.
Okay.
It will just leave the information as it is in the system currently. Or if you're doing something where you might want it to be put to 0 or something, or have the data removed, then you would select update to a null value. From my understanding of this, I probably will always be leaving it as is unless I want to remove information for a user. Yeah.
Okay.
So it will default in leave as is. And then you'll select how you want to identify the user. And typically this will always be by the company username. When we look at a user or when we add a new user, the system will automatically assign them a user ID. And this is different from any employee ID or anything. This is the specific WellSteps user ID. And
Okay.
I typically never work with it. It's just something I see. Yeah, it's just something I see when I go to user admin. So I always work with company username.
Okay.
And I'm thinking probably for this feature, I'll always be selecting company username. So these are these two sections, and then we select the columns we want to update, and this will determine on the CSV file the order that we put the information in. So as you can see, once I select a company username, the first column I'll put in the company username. Now, let's skip user columns for just a second and go down to user extra columns. And this is just IT jargon, I guess. They had to set it up this way on the back end, but it doesn't really make a difference. This is just the rest of the columns in the CSV.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of different options here, and I'll show you the ones that I will probably use the most. One would be company username. So this is how we would set it up if we want to change the company username. We would have the old company username in column A, because that's how we're identifying what user it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then in column B, we would put in the new company username.
Okay.
And if we didn't want to change the username for a specific user, and we just had a complete list of users, anything that we left blank in column B would just be left as is. For a lot of you, you'll probably just have a list of everybody that you want to change, so there probably won't be any blank columns, but we'd still just have that selected there. So an example of when you would use this, I had a group recently who their email domains changed, so we needed to change all of their, and they were using their emails as company usernames, so we needed to change over all of their old emails to the new email address.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a process. So
Yeah.
so I would create a CSV with their old email and then their new email as their new company username. And then what we could do is change email here. So I would select, let's see, disable page. Why isn't it showing me email?
Yeah, I don't see it.
That's weird. This is block email. Oh,
up top, yeah.
yeah, there it is. Okay. Then we do email. And it doesn't matter what order you select these in. As long as you follow this format up here, it will be correct. So in the case of my old group, what I could have done if I was using this tool would be old email or old company username, new company username, and new email. And then you would format your CSV as it shows here, and then save it and select and submit, and it would make those changes. So let's look at some of the other options we have here. Block emails is a subscription thing. So if you have a list of people that want to be unsubscribed, you could do that there, and then it will tell you the values to put here. So you would put a 1 for unsubscribed and a 0 for subscribed. And you could just have those who are unsubscribed. So maybe you have a list of those you know want to be unsubscribed. You could just have those usernames and then a 1 for all of them.
Okay.
Let's see, we can do disable the PHA. So if you remember on the user's individual page, we had those PHA options. We could either show the PHA on login or disable the PHA. So we have the option to do that for a list of users here. 1 would be turn the PHA off. 0 would be leave the PHA on for that user.
Okay.
We can change language ID. So if you have any groups that are working with Spanish and English, you can change the language ID using 1 for English, 2 for Spanish. And you can see as I'm changing these that it changes up
what's up there.
Columns. Yeah, and as I'm selecting more, it will show you what columns to put this information in. You can change phone number. You can block midweek emails. And like we were talking about, there's a couple of campaigns that have some have daily emails for a week or two, or there might be a couple of midweek emails, so you can block those. You could change date of birth. So as I'm going through, it's just deleting or adding in the columns. If there are users, if you have a list of test users that you don't want to show on reports, you could put those in there. Change location, change last 4 of social.
Now you're using this if you have to do large quantities, right?
Exactly. If it's a small group, I just go in and change this individually. However, the ones that you can't do individually will be company username. So anytime you need to change a company username, you'll be using this function, and it would just be you would just do like we did before with just selecting this view. This is the only feature, company username is the only one that you can't edit individually. The rest of these, it was a group of, 5 to 10, I would just go in and do it individually, or maybe, 5. And if I had 10 or more, maybe I would come in here and create something just to save some time.
Okay. So now, I have to say, for the example of changing the company name, like after you do all this, then you're going to actually go and edit it?
Yeah, so after creating or customizing your CSV, then you would create the CSV with the users that you want to change it for, choose your file, and then submit, and then it would make the change. So once you click submit, these changes that you've made are
automatic.
Perfect. Yeah, and this, to create the CSV, basically what you're doing is you're putting in the company username and then the new information that you want to be added.
Yeah.
And this is where the leave as is or update to no value. You could have the whole list here and be uploading or updating a bunch of different things for each of the users in your list, and then just leaving the columns blank for those that you don't want things changed for.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So it's sort of a custom user edit file that you're creating.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All of that. Okay. There's a few other options here. Okay, so it looks like we have disable PHA, which will turn the PHA off, completely remove it from the user's access, or keep it on. And then we have PHA, show the PHA on login, or turn the PHA off at login. So we have a couple of different PHA options. We have vendor, disable, text message, carrier, and phone would probably go together. But we really don't anticipate that phone number or some of these will need to be used very often. It's just sort of there just in case. And then user ID, user category ID. Every time we create a user category, an ID is associated with it. So you can either use the ID or you can use the exact wording of your category and just put the category name in there.
Okay.
So the ones that I think that I would probably use the most will be company username. So in that case, I would just have my CSV with username just as it is here. And maybe I'll do, if I need to change emails for a big group, I would do that. Maybe a location name has changed for a group, and so I want to come in and change the location name for a whole group of users. I could do that. And then, yeah, the rest of them really just come on an individual basis, like date of birth and last for social maybe. So those are probably the ones that I think will be used the most. The rest of these are just sort of there just in case.
Okay.
This username function, when the user registers, they have the option to change their username unless you disallow it in company admin. So this is for that, and I've never used that just because the user selects their own username, so there's not really a point.
Right.
If you disallow changing their username, then you could do change company username and username, and then it would just change both of the columns in user admin and make your reports look nicer.
Okay.
Rather than keeping the old company username in the username section. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The name of company username can be kind of confusing. Okay, and then the last one would be block, which deals with registration. So 1 would be to allow to re-register, and 0 would be don't allow to re-register. And I can't think of a time when I would use this, so that function's there. Okay, so any questions on the configurator? Like I was saying, I haven't used it very much. Some people come up, but seems to make sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think I understand it.
Okay, great. Well, we can both, if you have questions, let me know, and I'm sure I'll probably end up having questions on this too. It's a very new tool for us, so
yeah.
It looks nice in theory because you can sort of create your own custom editable documents or CSVs. So
Right.
Okay, well, on that note, we've covered a lot today. We went through all of rewards and a few other extra tools. So yeah, I'll send a follow-up email.
Okay.
And good luck on your test tomorrow. I hope it goes well.
Thank you.
And maybe for sometime next week, maybe Monday or in the middle of the week, whenever you're feeling good about the past 2 sessions.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up a little bit and spend the rest of this week going over everything.
Okay, sounds good.
How long did it take you to get like really comfortable with the software and being able to like go in and meet with your clients and plan out their years and stuff? Like, was it a long process for you, or did you pick it up pretty quickly?
Honestly, my training period was a few months. It was about 3 months, and once I actually started going in and building things out, I became a lot more comfortable with it. So I would say if you already have a program that you're working on with a client, just set it up in your test company and go through and set it up like you would normally. And
Okay.
that if you have something, because sometimes it's hard to know what to do to test. It's helpful
Right.
if you like if you have something to work on to build out.
Yeah.
A lot easier than just trying to like dink around and do some different testing things.
Yeah.
So what you could even do is send over a test rewards program, and you could go through and set it up from the program and see what questions come up from that.
Yeah.
If that would that be helpful for you, or do you sort of have something in mind for a group already?
Um, that would be helpful if I could look at it and kind of decide. I mean, I kind of want to use like my company that I work for as a test.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, maybe I'll just send over a rewards sheet so you can see some different ideas of how we've set things up, and then you
yeah,
can set up whatever you'd like in your test company.
yeah, for sure. That would be definitely be helpful because I'm definitely more of like a learn as I do type of person,
Definitely.
so that will definitely be helpful. But yeah, as long as if you think that's the best route to go for kind of learning this is to actually, start building one out.
Yeah, definitely. I would say if you can set up a whole program in your test company and set it up like it's live for a group of users, then that will
Mhm.
go a long way in helping you pick out questions that you have and also just see how everything fits together. Because there's a lot of information on the back end. Um,
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah, definitely. And we sort of the training sessions are nice because you can go back and watch, but we do so much without you actually going in and doing things.
Yep.
Um, that it's a lot of information. So, yeah, I would say just set up your test company like you're setting up a real company and go
Go
through
piece by
the
piece.
different options. And I think, did I send over the how to set up a company document? I
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll send that to you today. And basically, let me pull it up so you can
Maybe
see.
you did. You might have.
Okay, well, let me just pull it up really fast. It's right here. Let's see. I went through and made a checklist of the steps to take when setting up a program, and it just goes through all of the different tools and the specific steps you'll want to make sure that you take. So I'll send this
Oh, I
over to
love
you
it.
again, and it goes
Yeah.
through each of the tools, and it's just a nice checklist for you um, to have just to not forget things because there's so many just little details involved with each tool.
Yep.
It's nice to have just to go down as you set up a program. So I'll
Oh,
send
I
this over to
love
you again.
that. Yeah.
And yeah, and then next time we can go through questions, and we don't have that many tools left to go over, so definitely in the last two training sessions we'll have time to review tools, to answer all questions that you have and all of that. So
Okay.
we've gotten through a good chunk of the training already, actually.
Okay. Cool. Well, then that's good because then I'll give me time to kind of start to build out, and then I know I'm gonna have questions. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. So I'll send over a demo rewards program you can take a look at. Definitely don't have to use it, but sometimes it's nice just to see some
yeah, I
examples.
would love that. Yep.
And yeah, that sounds good. So I'll send a follow-up email. Let me know next week when you're wanting to um, have another training session. I think Monday through Wednesday, sometime there would be better for me, or maybe Thursday morning, but we'll plan on doing something before Friday if that works for you.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
All right, sounds good. Well, good luck on your test, and I will
Thank
see
you.
you soon. I'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much, Isabel.
Yep, thanks, Nikki. Have a good night.
You too.
Talk to you later. Okay, bye.